Penguin Random House Audio presents Small Country by Gaël Faye. Translated from the French by Sarah Artizzoni. Read for you by Dominic Hoffman. Prologue. I really don't know how this story began. Papa tried explaining it to us one day in the pickup truck. In Burundi, you see, it's like in Rwanda. There are 3 different ethnic groups. The Hutu form the biggest group, and they're short with wide noses. Like Donatien? I asked. No, he's from Zaire. That's different. Like our cook, Prothe, for instance. There are also the Twa pygmies, but we won't worry about them. There are so few they hardly count. And then there are the Tutsi, like your mother. The Tutsi make up a much smaller group than the Hutu. They're tall and skinny with long noses, and you can never tell what's going on inside their heads. Take you, Gabriel, he said, pointing at me. You're a proper Tutsi. We can never tell what you're thinking. I had no idea what I was thinking either. What was anyone supposed to make of all that? So I asked a question instead. The war between Tutsis and Hutus. Is it because they don't have the same land? No, they have the same country. So, they don't have the same language? No, they speak the same language. So they don't have the same God? No, they have the same God. So, why are they at war? Because they don't have the same nose. And that was the end of the discussion. It was all very odd. I'm not sure Papa really understood it either. From that day on, I started noticing people's noses in the street, as well as how tall they were. When my little sister Anna and I went shopping in town, we tried to be subtle about guessing who was Hutu and who was Tutsi. The guy in white trousers is a Hutu, we would whisper. He's short, with a wide nose. Right, and the one towering over everybody in a hat, he's extra skinny with a long nose, so he must be a Tutsi. See that man over there, in the striped shirt? He's a Hutu. No, he's not. Look, he's tall and skinny. Yes, but he's got a wide nose. That's when we began to have our suspicions about this whole ethnic story. Anyway, Papa didn't want us talking about it. He thought children should stay out of politics. But we couldn't help it. The atmosphere was becoming stranger by the day. At school, fights broke out at the slightest provocation, with friends calling each other Hutu or Tutsi as an insult. When we were all watching Cyrano de Bergerac, one student was even overheard saying, "Look, with a nose like that, he's got to be Tutsi." Something in the air had changed, and you could smell it, no matter what kind of nose you had. I am haunted by the idea of returning. Not a day goes by without the country calling to me, a secret sound, a scent on the breeze, a certain afternoon light, a gesture. Sometimes silence is enough to stir my childhood memories. You won't find anything there apart from ghosts and a pile of ruins, Anna keeps telling me. She refuses to hear another word about that cursed country. I listen, and I believe her. She's always been more clear-headed than me. So I put it out of my mind. I decide once and for all that I'm never going back. My life is here, in France. Except that I no longer live anywhere. Living somewhere involves a physical merging with its landscape, with every crevice of its environment. There's none of that here. I'm passing through. I rent. I crash. I squat. My town is a dormitory that serves its purpose. My apartment smells of fresh paint and new linoleum. My neighbors are perfect strangers. We avoid each other politely in the stairwell. I live and work just outside Paris, in Saint-Quentin-en-Yvelines, RER Line C. This new town is like a life without a past. It took me years to feel integrated, to hold down a stable job, an apartment, hobbies, friendships. I enjoy connecting with people online, encounters that last an evening or a few weeks. The girls who date me are all different, each one beautiful in her own way. I feel intoxicated listening to them, inhaling the fragrance of their hair, before surrendering to the warm oblivion of their arms, their legs, their bodies. Not one of them fails to ask me the same nagging question, and it's always on our first date. So, where are you from? A question as mundane as it is predictable. It feels like an obligatory rite of passage before the relationship can develop any further. My skin, the color of caramel, must explain itself by offering up its pedigree. I'm a human being. My answer rankles with them. It's not that I'm trying to be provocative, any more than I want to appear pedantic or philosophical. But when I was just knee-high to a locust, I had already made up my mind never to define myself again. The evening progresses, my technique is smooth, they talk. They enjoy being listened to. I am drunk, deep in my cups. Drowning in alcohol, I shrug off sincerity. I become a fearsome hunter, I make them laugh. I seduce them. Just for fun, I return to the question of my roots, deliberately keeping the mystery alive. We play at cat and mouse. I inform them with cold cynicism that my identity can be weighed in corpses. They don't react. They try to keep things light. They stare at me with doe-like eyes. I want them. Sometimes they give themselves up. They take me for a bit of a character, but I can entertain them for only so long. I am haunted by the idea of returning, but I keep putting it off indefinitely. There's the fear of buried truths, of nightmares left on the threshold of my native land. For 20 years I've been going back there, in my dreams at night and the magical thinking of my days, back to my neighborhood, to our street where I lived happily with my family and friends. My childhood has left its marks, and I don't know what to do about this. On good days, I tell myself it has made me strong and sensitive. But when I'm staring at the bottom of a bottle, I blame my childhood for my failure to adapt to the world. My life is one long meandering. Everything interests me. Nothing ignites my passion. There's no fire in my belly. I belong to the race of slouchers, of averagely inert citizens. Every now and again I have to pinch myself. I notice the way I behave in company, at work, with my office colleagues. Is that guy in the lift mirror really me? The young man forcing a laugh by the coffee machine? I don't recognize him. I have come from so far that I still feel astonished to be here. My colleagues talk about the weather or what's on TV. I can't listen to them anymore. I'm having trouble breathing. I loosen my shirt collar. My clothes restrict me. I stare at my polished shoes. They gleam, offering a disappointing reflection. What has become of my feet? They're in hiding. I never walk barefoot outdoors these days. I wander over to the window, under the low-hanging sky, through the gray, sticky drizzle. There's not a single mango tree in the tiny park wedged between the shopping center and the railway lines. This particular evening, on leaving work, I run for refuge to the nearest bar opposite the station. I sit down by the table football and order a whiskey to celebrate my 33rd birthday. I try ringing Anna, but she's not answering her mobile. I refuse to give up. Redial.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?